Yo crew, how's it going? Welcome to the video. This is No Fate, and in this one, I'm bringing you guys two MP40 builds that I think you guys should try out. So one is the build that I was pretty much using throughout my whole time ranking this gun up to level 70, maxing it out. And that is a super aggressive, super snappy ADS build that we kind of have to sacrifice a bit of the handling. But I show you all about the recoil pattern and you see that we don't really have to worry about it. The second one, I wanted to kind of like flip it and give you guys a really good build that has better handling, but we sacrifice a bit of the speed, but they both have really good power. So before I get into the builds, as always, if you guys like the video and find it entertaining, then please give the video a like. It really does help me out. It doesn't cost you guys nothing, zero, but it really helps out a growing channel like my own. And if you would consider a sub to stay up to date with all of my other Vanguard, Warzone, and indeed Battlefield content, then I think you guys will be making a good choice. But with all that said, let's get into the builds. So I'll talk about the whole class in a second, but I think you guys will just be mainly interested in the MP40 build, and then we'll get into the class itself. So let's go through this little nifty graph down here. You can see that I've pushed the firepower up by quite a bit, but the speed has been maxed out, again, making us super aggressive. We've taken a little hit on accuracy, but I think I've done really well here, but we haven't lost that much. And the ammo has been pushed up a bit as well. So let's go through the attachments. So for the muzzle, the first one I go for is the recoil booster to up our fire rate. So that gives us a fire rate boost of almost 5% for just a loss of 3.7% in the horizontal recoil control. Now, on screen is the recoil pattern for this build. As you can see, it's really simple to control. It's just diagonal straight to the right and to the top. That's really easy to control, and that's with all of the kind of accuracy nerfing attachments that I've put on it. So we don't have to worry. That's why I felt safe putting them on, because I tried this build out and I thought, it's super easy to control. So why not push all the speed and the firepower? So the next attachment I want to talk about is the barrel, and it's this one, the crawl snick. And this gives us ADS walking speed of plus 20%, sprint to fire time of plus 13.6%, ADS time of plus 20%. This is the bad boy that gives us a lot of the speed. As you can see here, it's a big push, but we lose 12% of damage range and 20% bullet velocity. But remember, we're being aggressive with this build. We're really not looking at taking shots at long ranges. So it works out well. For the accuracy, we get a minus 15% deficit and we get a minus 25% deficit on the recoil control, but we get a plus 10% on the hip fire accuracy, which is really good when we're up in people's faces. For the optic, to be honest, on these ones, on the optics, I always just say to you guys, just choose whatever one you like. I just personally like this one. For the stock, I go for the first unlock, which is the crawl snick. So this gives us plus 2% movement speed, which isn't that much, but it also gives us 13% sprint to fire time. As you can see on screen right now, it is super snappy, this build. Super snappy ADS, which is really nice. And we get all of this snappy ADS and sprint to fire time just for the measly cost of less than 3% on each the vertical and horizontal recoil control. So that's a really good attachment. Next we go for the underbarrel. So I go for the pistol grip. So this gives us 13% sprint to fire time, 13.6, minus 5% on both the recoil controls, and we get another 4.3% on the hip fire accuracy. Now, to be honest, if you're building a build that's supposed to be super snappy, there's not really many other good ones. So unfortunately, you have to kind of wait until the end of the unlock cycle when you unlock this pistol grip. There's nothing really that boosts the speed quite like this 13.6% that we get on the sprint to fire time. For the mag, this is a really important attachment. I go for the last unlock, which is the Kurtz 32 round mags. That gives us, look at this, boys and girls. So damage, 43% increase, effective damage range, 23.5 increase, fire rate of minus 6.9. But as you saw, guys, we've upped the fire rate with a recoil booster. So we get this really nice push in damage. This is really what I'm looking at, is the damage. The effective damage range is nice, but this push in damage is like something you can't really ignore. So for the speed, we lose only 2% in the movement speed, but we do lose 6.5%. So this is a bit of like a balancing game. As you can see before, the ADS is super snappy. Recoil control, we lose 32% and 25% and 4% on the hip fire. But we also get 166% better bullet penetration through cover. And this goes hand in hand with another attachment I'm going to talk to you guys about now. and also a perk. So it's all built around this one functionality as well. And this is what I'm talking about. So I've always rocked FMJ. So kind of a slight disclaimer is that I've been leveling this up in the Das House or the House playlist ever since that playlist come online, because there's no better way to get super quick kills and level up your gun as quickly as possible. Now there's certain tricks at shooting through cover, and of course this applies to other maps, but in the House it works especially well, and I'll show you some footage on screen right now. So basically what you do, I'm going to jump ahead to a perk. So the FMJ paired with the piercing vision on the House, ranking this up, and again in any other map, that when you're sufficiently suppressing targets, they will be highlighted for a short time and they can be seen through walls. So you can see them through walls when you suppress them, so you can literally just blind fire through objects and it highlights enemies if they're suppressed. And then you've got the added bonus power of the FMJ rounds. So it's a really, really good combo. For the rear grip, I go for the fabric grip. There are other options. As we'll go through them, you can kind of take a look at, see what they do to the speed and to your accuracy and all of that kind of stuff. But for me, for all of these benefits, again, I wasn't too worried about accuracy. The fabric grip is a really good kind of like, it's a good balancing act between getting a nice push in sprint to fire time and also in ADS. For the proficiency, I went for brace, but I kind of made my way through these, to be honest. Nerves of Steel is a really good one because it gives you plus accuracy when on recoil, when injured and suppressed. And suppression in Vanguard is really, really strong. Also, speed after kills is really good for being aggressive as well. So you can like just keep fragging out, keep looking cracked. That's a really good one. But brace is really good. Again, because we're kind of like losing a bit of the recoil control, this is a really good one to bring some of it back. So on the initial shots, on the first shots that you fire, this really helps to keep the kind of gun under control. And lastly, for this build, I went for quick. Again, you can kind of switch this out. If you feel like you're running out of ammo too quick, then you can go for fully loaded. But quick was just really good for the sprint speed because it makes you feel really aggressive. As for a secondary, I went for the rat. I've been leveling this up a bit, just like when I run out of ammo with an SMG or a sniper. If you guys haven't seen my 3-line rifle breakdown video, I'll leave a card in the top right hand corner. That's a really good one to go and check out as well if you feel like sniping. So I've been rocking the rat. It's just really good for quick swapping between weapons. For perks, I'll go for survival training. This gives you maximized reduced like resistance to stun. The piercing vision, I've already talked to you about the theory behind that, and demolition to give me an extra lethal on spawn. Again, these things are kind of up to you guys. Depends what like mode you're playing, maps you're playing. I was playing the house a lot, so to have these extra lethals I could just throw around. I was using Molotovs a lot. I use them mainly to block off areas. That's a really good tactic to think of as well. And stim, obviously, because when you're getting involved and like getting up in people's faces, when you're taking hits, you want to pop a stim. The stim in this game does feel like extremely slow to me. Like when you pop it, it takes ages for him to actually like do it. So you have to be a bit careful with it, but it's better than not running it. So here's the second build. This is the one that is more built for like, you know, long distances, being more of like an all-round gun rather than being just like a pure out and out aggressive gun. So as you can see, it's gone the opposite way. So we've got more accuracy, like a lot more accuracy, and we've kind of taken a hit on the speed. But it is really, really good to play when you're actually trying to like lock down areas and like long lanes. It's really, really good. And you can see some clips on screen right now. So you'd be surprised at the distances where you can kill. This kills very similarly to the STG. So it feels very much like a mix between an SMG and an AR. So let's get into the attachments. So strife compensator for recoil control. We've got the short barrel, which is really good because it gives us 15% extra damage range, and we only lose -2% vital damage. So that's literally nothing. The optic, I went for a 2.5, so kind of controversially against the other build. Obviously now we're kind of like looking at a little bit longer ranges. So a scope that's got a little bit more on it, a 2x, 2.5x, 3x, something like that. Probably wouldn't go over 3x. I don't even know if they have a 3x for it. If there is one, I really like this scope anyway. I think it works really well. I recommend you guys do the same. For the stock, we go for the padded this time. This gives us -4% movement speed, and you do feel this. You do feel the speed, like the loss of speed. Sprint to fire time is -15% as well, but you get really good benefits in all the accuracy area. So vertical recoil, horizontal recoil, centering speed, which is when you're firing how quickly the gun actually comes back to zero. And flinch resistance, as I said, flinch is massive in this game. It's really, really strong. So any flinch resistance is very welcome. For the underbarrel, I go for the Carver foregrip. Quite an early unlock this one, but it's really, really good. So we get -4.5% on the ADS time. You can see on screen now, this is the ADS snap for the build. It's really, really good. It's not that bad. You'd be surprised. It's not that bad. It's more of the movement speed. So again, the build is not really designed to be like used as a run and gun build. And then you can see all the lovely benefits we get in the accuracy. For the magazine, I go for the same as the other build. It just really gives you really good damage and effective damage range, and all of this stuff is just really too good to ignore. Ammo type, I go for lengthened. You can kind of follow the same path as I went for the other build and go for FMJ. For me, I like the bullet velocity, and it really helped for me taking out long ranges. It does make this gun really feel like an assault rifle more than an SMG. For the grip, I go for the polymer grip. And again, this gives us really good flinch resistance. There are other things you can do. If you wanted to kind of push sprint to fire time up, you can do that. You're going to have the edge over them for the flinch resistance. For the proficiency, I went for brace again. But as I said in the last build, you can switch this up for whatever you guys feel at the time. Depends what maps and things you're playing. Again, just to really help with that initial recoil control. And for the kit, I go for fully loaded. If you wanted to feel a little bit more quicker, you can sacrifice ammo count for speed, which is really, really good. For the secondary, I go for the rat again. I had a pistol as a secondary. Again, you guys can switch out radar here. So I go for ninja, radar, and lightweight just to help us with the movement speed. But you guys can switch out radar for piercing vision if you want to. You can go for overkill. Where is overkill? It's on here. So lightweight, if you don't mind losing a bit of the speed again, and you want something like an AR or a sniper, you guys can run overkill. For the lethals and tacticals, I went for Molotovs and stims again. I think more for the fact that I was just so used to it from ranking the gun up on the house. So that's it for the video, guys. And yeah, I'll check you in the next one. Take care. Peace.